Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this video. So today I'm dealing with Ketu in different houses, or what is the karma of Ketu in each of the 12 houses of the horoscope. But then before we go into the meat of this video, kindly subscribe to this channel, like the content, and please share this video with your friends and family if you find it useful. Okay. So Ketu in astrology is the south node of the moon, and this shadow planet represents spirituality, nothingness, and the purpose that we have already achieved in past lives. So in this life, Ketu represents our past experience, which you can rely on. Okay. And the house and the sign in which Ketu is located, of course, become very important. And this is the house of Ketu is always opposite to the house in which Rahu is located. And it is like a tug of war between Rahu and Ketu. And I frequently tell this to my students in the class that Rahu and Ketu are the only problems that you require to solve in this lifetime. Okay, so if you can solve the Rahu Ketu axis, you would have solved 95% of your problems. The rest of the problems can be solved by themselves, except Rahu and Ketu. Okay, so just like Rahu, Ketu also seeks the spiritual truth, and Ketu, it will endow the native with the ability to explore the hidden realms. Okay, especially if it is aspected by Mercury. Okay, and the house where Ketu is located, that house should be considered as the sphere of our talents, our experience. So Ketu is that part of life that is not worth worrying about too much, as it'll easily manifest itself. Okay, so you already have the knowledge as well as the experience regarding the house where Ketu is located. Okay, and the house where Ketu is located in the horoscope is the zone of our ambitions, disappointments, and also our greatest vulnerability. Okay, and a large concentration in this zone slows down the growth of the Rahu zone. Okay, so that means if you have an objective or if you have a purpose in life, then you have to move towards the Rahu house by abandoning the Ketu house. That does not mean you have to neglect the Ketu house. Ketu house is your castle where you are always safe. Rahu house is the jungle which you need to explore as a part of this incarnation. Okay, so you should always remember that Ketu is a sphere that has already been worked out in the past. And in this incarnation, you should remember the developments and move on to the Rahu house. Okay. But then it is very necessary to study the house occupied by Ketu and the dispositor, because that is the key to unraveling the talents and abilities of past life. Okay. And the house where Ketu is located always answers the question how. The house where the dispositor is located answers the question through what talent will manifest itself, right? For example, say Ketu in the 9th house, it indicates learning and spiritual transformation through determination, dedication, and action. Okay. And if Ketu is in the 9th house, then Rahu will be in the 3rd house. So, the purpose you have in this lifetime is to fulfill the tasks, or to fulfill all the tasks that you are supposed to do by relying on yourself and by trusting the higher powers that are, which is the Rahu house. Okay, so we'll not go into details about the Rahu Ketu axis in this video. We are just supposed to cover the indications of Ketu in the various houses of the horoscope. Okay, so Ketu in the 1st house, it gives a lot of intuition and insight, and it also indicates that the person took birth in the same place in the past incarnation. And it may indicate some amount of independence and self-confidence of a person. But then it can also indicate that a person is easily manipulated through a sense of guilt. Okay. Such a person may be easily misunderstood by others. And sometimes, it could bring problems to the spine. Okay, so if you have Ketu in the 1st house, you better watch out your posture. All right. And Ketu in the first house always gives an unusual way of speaking and looking at things. Okay. In the second house, Ketu in the second house, this is not favorable for the accumulation of money because, the person is forced to live independently of the family. So the initial family support is not there. Okay. And because the second house is the house of speech, so Ketu's placement here can give rise to stammering or stuttering or other forms of speech defects. Okay. And it can also give rise to gambling, but then it can give you a lot of passion for traveling. Okay. It can make you sarcastic towards others. That means it may give you a greater tendency to criticize others. But then it also gives you an opportunity to develop your life philosophy independently without the opinion of others. Okay. In the third house, Ketu brings modesty, because Ketu is ambivalent. So it does not represent ambitions because ambitions are seen from the third house, and it also creates blockages in your communication, right? However, it can give you writing skills in the field of occult, in the field of spirituality, and it can also give you a passion for traveling. Okay. And there is a propensity to adventure and courage for the native, which should be skillfully used to work in the direction where the dispositor is located. Okay. In the fourth house, Ketu indicates a karmic relationship with the mother and early separation from the mother. Okay. And usually these people are very unsuccessful in the first part of life as there are several obstacles and fears that they have to overcome. And sometimes these people can be homebodies. That means they can create some kind of a coziness in the house, not wanting to do anything in the outside world. But usually these people, they have a very harmonious personality. Okay. In the fifth house, Ketu gives a very insightful intellect along with many talents. Okay. And a person can have a very unusual lifestyle, like, having romantic relationships or long distance relationships. Okay. And usually it gives problems in conceiving children, especially for males, or it can give, difficulty in bearing child if you're a female. And it can also make you adopt children. Okay. And sometimes it can throw up some incomprehensible life situations. But the fifth house Ketu often gives a very profound, interest in mysticism. Okay. In the sixth house, Ketu can calm the attitude to deaths, enemies, illnesses, and can help the native easily easily overcome these difficulties. Okay. But then it can be a source of some undiagnosed diseases. And even if you have diseases, you might not end up going to the right doctor. But sixth house Ketu usually makes an expert in whatever the native does, and it gives them huge strength, huge potential. Okay. Ketu in the seventh house. So this is not supposed to be good because it requires you to work a lot with your emotions. And it gives you a master, it makes you a master in partnerships, but also it produces a person who is very easy on divorces. Okay. These people can easily tolerate loneliness and have the ability to build partnerships at will. Okay. But just like, building partnerships, they can also break partnerships at will. Okay. Eighth house Ketu. So it gives a talent for research activities. Okay. There's a lot of passion for mysticism, and there is also a lack of the fear of death. Okay. So these people, they know what death is because they've experienced so much of death, or they have been so close to death in the past lives that, a brush with death comes very natural to them. Okay. They are not perturbed by death, if I could use that word. And these people, they usually find good luck in the second half of life. And sometimes it gives problems in the genital system, in the reproductive organs. And these people, the spouse of these people, they lose everything at least once in his or her life. Okay. So Ketu in the ninth house, it gives a lot of religiosity, concern for spiritual life. And it is very, it gives a lot of respect for teachers, but then it can lead to early separation from father and guru. And ninth house Ketu is often indicative of spiritual knowledge from a past life. Okay. Ketu in the 10th house, it is usually good because it makes you a workaholic, and that can indicate a lot of career success. But 10th house Ketu is also brings a lot of practicality in a person, which I have seen. Okay. But then these people, they often take up work, more than their capacity, and that can bring a lot of suffering and discomfort in the work front. Okay. And but then these people, they can be very antisocial. That means they are the types of people who like to spend their day and their entire day at their desk or at your workplace without indulging much in social activities. Okay. 11th house Ketu, contrary to what other people say, I would say 11th house Ketu is a blessing in work and business. Okay. And it gives several talents and abilities to serve others. Okay. And these people, they have the ability to overcome their own selfishness. Okay. So they can be very friendly. They can do anything for their friends. Okay. Ketu in the 12th house. So people say this is the best position for Ketu to be. I don't necessarily agree. Okay. But then it gives a lot of power to let go. It gives the person can let go of relationships, of experiences very easily. And this is a position where people can accept injustice with a smile. And it can lead to some possible cases of isolation, like, the person may end up in prison or in hospital, right? But then these people, they have a certain level of, mysticism and asceticism that has been reached over several lifetimes. And these people, they learn to treat money the right way. Okay. And Ketu in the 12th house often indicates a lack of desire, and also indicates worked out losses in a past life. Okay. So that's the karma of Ketu in all the 12 houses. Ketu is a huge topic. We can make hundreds of videos on Ketu and it'll still be incomplete. Okay. So this is the end of the video. Kindly share the content with your friends and family. If you found it useful, kindly leave behind your valuable comments in the comment section, because that is really, really encouraging. If you agreed with some parts, well and good. If you didn't agree, then also I would like to read your comments. All right. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon in yet another video. Namaste. Om Gurave Namaha.